England have arrived at the Al Wakra Sports Club in Doha for the World Cup finals. Had their first training session on Wednesday, and the big positive for Gareth Southgate is that both Kalvin Phillips and Kyle Walker were able to take part. The two players were injury doubts before this tournament, but there's now boosted hopes that they will be able to play in England's opening game against Iran on Monday. Also hoping to take part in that game will be James Maddison, who was the first player to speak to the media here in Qatar. He spoke very well, spoke very openly and honestly about how excited he was to be here. Obviously didn't think he was going to be part of the squad. He was a dramatic late call-up. And it's the first time he's been called up in 3 years, and there was a lot of talk around that time that maybe an incident in which he was pictured in a casino when it was thought he would be playing for England against the Czech Republic in October 2019 was the reason why his international career had stalled. Essentially what happened was Maddison was called up to play the Czech Republic 3 years ago. He then withdrew from the squad with flu, but on the night of the game itself he was pictured out in a casino, which created some controversy about just how serious his illness was and whether he was really serious about playing for England.
I thought that might get brought up, and I'm actually glad you asked, because people forget I was actually capped by Gareth Southgate and called up after the casino incident, and it wasn't a big deal at the time for Gareth, and it got blown out of proportion, and some of it was ridiculous to what actually happened, but that's in the past. I don't want to go into the details because we know in-house what it was, and it wasn't a big deal then. And like I said, I was actually capped after that incident, so people who often say, and I think are just maybe looking for an excuse for me why I wasn't in the squad, but I don't think that was the case.
It was never a concern for you personally?
No,
you never thought that was...
We had already spoke about it and put it to bed, and then I was called up and capped after that, so that was never a concern, and I think that was more outside noise from you lot, I think.
The fact that he didn't then play for England for 3 years until the dramatic late call-up for this World Cup finals suggests that maybe, or certainly it was suggested as a narrative, that might be an issue at the back of Southgate's mind. There's often been suggestions about whether Maddison is a great traveller, what he's like around the squad. Those assertions have always been strongly rejected by his club manager at Leicester, Brendan Rodgers, and Gareth Southgate clearly doesn't feel there's any issue there either, because he's called him up for these finals. And Maddison himself spoke, about how maybe people think he's misunderstood, maybe his character's not always come across as transparently and openly and honestly and as genuine as I thought he spoke today. There's high hopes that Maddison can play a big part for England in these finals, and if he plays as well as he speaks, then Gareth Southgate's got a good asset on his hands.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.